Ben attends a difficult nonlinear equations class at MIT with his best friend. The professor, Mr. O'Reilly, played by Kevin Spacey, asks the class a very challenging math question. No one else can answer it, but Ben solves it easily and explains his thinking clearly. The professor is impressed and begins to take special notice of Ben's talent. The movie starts with Ben Campbell, played by Jim Sturgis, sitting in front of a scholarship interview committee. He is applying for a full, all-expenses-paid scholarship to Harvard Medical School. Ben has already been accepted to Harvard, but he cannot attend unless he gets this scholarship. Ben is clearly an excellent student. He has a perfect 4.0 GPA, scored extremely high on the MCAT, is president of several student clubs, and is working with his friends on a robotics project for a major science competition. Even with all of these achievements, the interviewer tells Ben that many other students have equally impressive resumes. To truly stand out, Ben needs a powerful and unique life experience that makes him unforgettable. Ben becomes nervous and honest. He explains that he comes from a poor family and simply cannot afford medical school without the scholarship. This interview is his only chance, and losing it would end his dream of becoming a doctor. Later, Ben attends a difficult nonlinear equations class at MIT with his best friend. The professor, Mr. O'Reilly, played by Kevin Spacey, asks the class a very challenging math question. No one else can answer it, but Ben solves it easily and explains his thinking clearly. The professor is impressed and begins to take special notice of Ben's talent. One night, while Ben is studying alone in the campus library, one of his classmates, Fisher, suddenly approaches him and asks him to follow. Fisher leads Ben to a classroom where a small group of students is waiting. Among them is Jill Taylor, played by Kate Bosworth, who immediately catches Ben's attention. Professor O'Reilly is there as well, but in this setting, he goes by the nickname Mickey. They explain their secret operation to Ben. The group is a card-counting team that travels to Las Vegas every weekend to play blackjack and win large amounts of money. Mickey teaches them how to use math, memory, and teamwork to beat the casino system. They make it clear that card counting is not illegal, just frowned upon by casinos. They want Ben to join because his math skills are exactly what the team needs. Ben refuses at first. He says he already has a job, school responsibilities, and cannot risk getting into trouble. He doesn't believe this lifestyle is right for him. Later, while Ben is working his low-paying job at a suit store, Jill visits him and asks him again to join the team. She tries to convince him that this could change his life, but Ben still says no. Not long after, Ben secretly watches one of the team's practice sessions. Mickey quizzes the group with rapid-fire blackjack questions, and they struggle to answer correctly. Ben steps forward and gives all the right answers with ease. This proves to everyone that he belongs there. Ben finally agrees to join the team. Mickey begins training him, teaching him the hand signals, betting strategies, card-counting systems, and strict rules the group must follow. Ben learns how every team member has a role and how discipline is key to success. At the end of the training, they tell Ben that he must complete a practice trip before officially becoming part of their Las Vegas operation. Ben is sent on a test to prove himself. We see him enter a secret, underground gambling room, and he is clearly very nervous. He follows the team's signals and sits down at a hot blackjack table. As he starts playing, everything goes well. He begins winning money, and his confidence slowly grows. Suddenly, everything changes. A bag is thrown over Ben's head, and several men grab him and drag him out of the room. Ben panics, thinking his life is in danger. He yells and struggles, completely terrified. Then the bag is removed, and it turns out the whole thing was staged. It was just Mickey and the team testing him to see how he would react under pressure. Ben passes the test, and they tell him he is officially part of the team. They also tell him they are leaving for Las Vegas the very next day. From that point on, Ben becomes the team's main player, also known as the Big Bettor. Every weekend, the group travels to Las Vegas, and Ben wins huge amounts of money using card counting. The team splits the profits after each trip. Over time, clearly several months, Ben saves more than $160,000. His life begins to change, and he starts enjoying the money, the attention, and the fast lifestyle. However, the casinos begin to notice. Security teams realize they are losing large sums of money, and patterns start to form. The head of casino security, Carl, played by Lawrence Fishburne, becomes suspicious of Ben and the team. Angry and determined, Carl makes it his mission to identify and stop whoever is beating the casinos. Back at MIT, Ben starts neglecting his normal life. He ignores his best friends and skips working on their robotics project. Eventually, his friends confront him about his behavior. An argument breaks out, and Ben makes a careless mistake that ruins their project. The fight ends badly, and Ben and his friends go their separate ways, leaving their friendship damaged. When Ben returns to Las Vegas, he is clearly upset and distracted. Instead of carefully counting cards like he was trained to do, he begins gambling recklessly. This is a huge mistake. He loses $200,000 in one night. Mickey is furious. He yells at the entire team, blames them for the loss, and storms out. He tells them they are on their own and must find their own way back to Boston. After some discussion, Ben convinces the team to stay in Vegas and try to win the money back without Mickey. At this point, we learn that Ben has saved over $315,000 total, but his attitude has changed. He is no longer focused on medical school. He has become greedy and obsessed with winning more money. The team decides to go through with the plan. However, they do not realize that Mickey never actually left Las Vegas. He is secretly watching them from inside the casino. Mickey makes a phone call to Carl and turns the team in. Carl and his security team track down Ben while the others escape and abandon him. Ben is taken to a hidden security room under the casino, where he is brutally beaten. His face is left bruised and bloody. The next scene shows Ben leaving the casino the following day, badly injured, with a black eye and cuts on his face. Ben returns to Boston, only to face even more problems. He discovers that Professor O'Reilly, Mickey, is planning to fail him in his class. Without passing the course, Ben will not graduate, and that means he cannot attend Harvard Medical School. To make things worse, Ben's room has been broken into, completely trashed, and all of his money is gone. Ben goes to Jill's house because she has no idea if he even survived the night he was beaten at the casino. When she opens the door and sees him, she is shocked by how hurt he looks. Ben tells her the truth. He says he has lost everything: his money, his future, and his chance at medical school. He tells her he needs her help. Jill listens, but she is clearly tired and hurt. She asks him a simple but powerful question: when is he finally going to stop living this way? The next day, Ben causes a scene in his nonlinear equations class. In front of everyone, he asks Professor O'Reilly a pointed question about a famous physicist who stole his students' ideas and ruined their lives. The room goes quiet. O'Reilly calmly replies that there was never any proof, so no one will ever know what really happened. His answer is clearly meant for Ben, reminding him that sometimes the truth does not matter if it cannot be proven. Later, Ben tracks down Mickey and asks to talk. He tells Mickey that they should work together again one last time. Ben promises that if they team up, they can win back all the money they lost. Mickey agrees, pretending to be on Ben's side again. The team gets back together and heads to Las Vegas for one final trip. In Vegas, Ben and Mickey sit at the same blackjack table, both counting cards. Everything goes perfectly at first. They win a huge amount of money, stacking chips quickly. Just when it seems like they have succeeded, casino security suddenly appears. The team panics and throws all the chips into a bag as fast as they can. Security starts chasing them through the casino. During the chase, the group reaches a point where they have to split up. Mickey tells Ben to hand over the bag of chips so he can escape. Ben hesitates, unsure if he can trust him, but finally gives Mickey the bag. Mickey runs off. Outside, we see him get into a limousine and drive away toward the airport, smiling. It looks like Mickey has betrayed Ben again, stealing all the money Ben had saved and everything they won that night. Ben and Jill continue running from security for a short time before finally escaping and stepping out onto the street, exhausted and defeated. Then we see a flashback that reveals the truth. Ben knew Mickey was going to try to cheat him. Right after security showed up at the table, Ben secretly switched the bag of chips with another bag. Ben and Jill actually have the real chips. Mickey only took a bag filled with fake chocolate gold coins. Another flashback shows Ben being beaten by Carl in the casino basement. This time, we hear a conversation between them. Carl tells Ben that he has been trying to catch Mickey for years. He explains that if Ben can bring Mickey back into the casino and help him get caught, then Carl will let Ben play for one final night. Ben will be allowed to keep all his winnings, and security will leave him alone. The story cuts back to the street, where Ben and Jill believe everything is finally over. They think they have escaped, set up Mickey, and secured Ben's one night of free winnings. Suddenly, Carl appears behind them. He calmly tells Ben to hand over the bag of chips. Ben is shocked and terrified. He begs Carl, saying he needs that money. He explains how much pain and effort it took to get there and how his future depends on it. Carl listens, but stays firm. He tells Ben that life is not fair, but if Ben is truly smart, he will find another way to succeed. Then Carl shows him a gun and repeats his demand. With no choice, Ben hands over the bag of chips. Carl walks away, leaving Ben and Jill standing there in silence. They slowly walk off together, knowing the money is gone again. The scene then cuts to Mickey riding in a limo. Sitting in the front seat is Carl's main security assistant. Mickey suddenly understands the truth. Ben set him up. The limo stops, and Mickey is dragged into the same basement room where Ben was beaten before. He is strapped to a chair and attacked, suffering the same fate he once helped cause. Back in Boston, Ben attends the 2.0.9 robotics competition. His friends competed without him, and they won. After the event, Ben walks with his friend and finally tells him the whole story, from Vegas to the beatings to losing all the money. Ben then narrates the ending. He explains that by helping Carl catch Mickey, Carl was finally able to retire with a pension, ending his long chase of card counters. Ben also reveals that his MIT friends turned out to be great at counting cards too. We see them together in a casino, wearing disguises, laughing, and playing at the tables. Ben continues speaking and admits that he finally told his mother the truth, that he did not get the scholarship. The narration stops, and we realize Ben is sitting in the same scholarship interview room from the beginning of the movie. The entire film has been Ben telling the interviewer his full life story about Vegas, the money, the losses, the pain, the friendships, and everything he learned. Ben looks at the interviewer and says, "Now how is that for life experience?" Dazzling enough. The interviewer, usually very serious, is completely stunned and speechless. The scene cuts to Ben walking into a Harvard Medical School building, showing that his story was enough, and his future is finally secure.